Welcome to Holy Waters, a ceremonial sojourn, the conversation series. My name is Ebony Noel Golden, and I am your host. Before we begin, I would like to do a land acknowledgement and also a visual description. I am wearing a red sweater with a golden color um, head wrap. With my hair is up in twist and it's kind of a maroonish color. I have locks. I am a chocolate brown black woman with a gold hoop in her nose and bluish and purplish eyeshadow and fingernails and lipstick. I'm wearing big gold leaf earrings and I'm sitting in front of some plants and artwork and gold sunflower looking piece on the walls and lots of plants and yeah. And I'm in my home in Harlem, the holy lands of the Lenape people in Manhattan. I live here in a community called Harlem, and I am really grateful to the original stewards of this land for making home for me. I'm very appreciative. So we are here to have this conversation about land, legacy, and liberation. It is a three-part series that really tracks the ongoing work of the creation of In the Name of the Mother Tree, the current theatrical ceremony that I am creating with my company, Jupiter Performance Studio, as well as Watering Whole, our engagement platform that takes the ideas and themes of In the Name of the Mother Tree and places them in community with those who are interested and are excited about doing the work around land, legacy, and liberation. This is the first of a series, but I have been in partnership with High Arts for many years. And the original series that you've already been able to view was about 4 years ago. I want to just talk a little bit about the partnership that I have with High Arts, and then we will continue with the work. About 4 years ago, I served as the inaugural Skylab artist in residence at High Arts. This is in 2020. I received this residency to work totally virtually with a community of artists that were all thinking about the themes that of In the Name of the Mother Tree that we were exploring. So devising and developing the work through a virtual and safe platform at the height of the pandemic was given to me by High Arts, and I am forever grateful. As a part of that residency, I recorded two videos, one with folks who were a part of the development and devising of the piece, and another with Dr. Alexis Pauline Gums, who is a friend and collaborator on this work. And her name will come up often when I talk about this work. And so High Arts providing the Skylab residency as well as an opportunity to document and archive the process of creating the work is one that that started about 4 years ago, and it continues today with this three-part series. We're talking to school administrators, farmers, artists, spiritualists. We're talking to educators and healers about all of these intersecting issues and themes that come up when we are discussing environmental justice and climate reparations through a Black feminist and an eco-womanist lens. So stay tuned to the three-part series as we delve into the issues and themes that are guiding our work around environmental justice and climate reparations as an ensemble and as individuals. With all that is swirling in our worlds, um, it means so much to me that you've taken this time out of your day to share some wisdom, some thoughts, some strategies, some rituals with those who will be partaking in Holy Waters, a Ceremonial Sojourn, the conversation series. It is not lost on me that when women in femmes decide to sit still for more than 5 minutes, worlds change, things change, people are delivered with the T, and I am so grateful, so grateful. Before we get into some of these questions, I want to share a few things to ground us. I've shared with you all the curatorial statement for this conversation series and the overall project that this is a part of. I'm really grateful to High Arts, who has been working with me on this particular iteration of work called Holy Waters, but High Arts has been a supportive force in my my career and in my life for many years, and I'm grateful for the leadership, the patience, and the grace that comes from all of the staff and the team at High Arts. It really is a pleasure and an honor to be able to be a part of your programming, to be a part of the season that is upcoming, and to be a Harlem artist, Harlem-based artist, with support from a Harlem-based cultural institution. It really means a lot to me. So I'm very grateful. I want to also say that Holy Waters is really a part of a dynamic series of actions, events, and interventions under the umbrella of Watering Whole, WHOLE. And Watering Whole is comprised of festivals. We're actually about to be in festival mode next week. Jerry will be with us. And conversations. Thank you all for being a part of conversations. Sojourns, which is a combination of porch sitting, field work, dramaturgical research for a theatrical ceremony called In the Name of the Mother Tree that I have been ideating for a number of years, with Michelle Lanier being one of the folks that I've been circling back to a couple times a year, talking about this piece that's written and performed and built in collaboration with my dear sister, Dr. Alexis Pauline Gums. And there are many other aspects of this work, but I really believe in the power of the kitchen table, of sitting on the porch. It's where I come from in particular, and it's where many of us on this Zoom come from, just sitting a spell and talking, and allowing ourselves to be in that gumbo yaya, to be in that back and forth around topics of interest, topics of import. And so that's really what this time is about. We're here to talk about climate. In particular, I'm interested in climate reparations and strategies that address and advance an eco-womanist framework and approach to being and living in the world. I know y'all all have something to say about that. And I will also say that I am recently back from Alabama, where I was on a sojourn for a week. And I'm still feeling like, although I'm coming from Harlem, I still feel like I am in Alabama. And Alabama is rich and sweet and hot and Black, and I love it. And I love my time there. And so I'm bringing some time with some elders. Oldest person I talked to is 96 years old, talking about land stewardship and how to keep the land in the family. And the youngest person I spoke to was a baby. And so this right now is, I think the time of gathering and talking to your folk about how we want to live. And ultimately, I believe that we come from the water, we return to the water. The water is what holds us. The water is what we are constituted of. And so the opportunity to sit with and to muse about these issues and opportunities that are related to how we engage in right relationships with the planet is one that I am coming through the lens of talking about water, but also I feel like everything that we talk about is about water, land, ways of being. There is a way to think about all of it through the lens of water. I would love to have us check in or introduce ourselves. How are you and how are your people? Where are you? Who are your people? And anything that you'd like to share in relationship to how you're feeling about water these days.
Thank you, Ebony. A day does not go by when I'm not thinking about water. My name is Michelle Lanier. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm an Afro-Carolina folklorist and keeper of memory. I'm on lands that have known the feet of many indigenous people, including the Tuscarora and the Occaneechi, and people of indigenous communities who were brought here, like the Yoruba and the Igbo, and the Celtics too. They're here too. My people on the other side of the river, or in the ancestral realm, are very busy. I am the daughter of two ancestral parents, Margaret Odell and James Herbert. They stay on the watchtower looking out for me. My child, Eden, is in Afro-Carolina North in Brooklyn. And we are kind of torn asunder, and every other day it seems, and yet still keep dancing the wobble and picking out balloons for baby showers and boiling peanuts in salt water with our broken hearts, you know. I'm cinnamon colored brown, and I'm wearing a red lip about the color of blood, and I'm in black, and I have big old pearls on my neck and some box braids that are a little old and fuzzy, and my skin is very, very well moisturized.
That was so poetic. I was just thank you, Michelle, for sharing. Yeah, so Chandrika, yeah, resonating with that sort of brokenhearted and also celebrating and also resting and also yeah, leaning into the fullness of summer. One thing that is top of mind for me right now is I just finished yesterday doing a summer camp, Black Mermaid summer camp for 13 to 16-year-old Black girls and non-binary youth. So feeling very, very grateful for water and the way that it just facilitated that sort of change from, all right, we're a group of, young people who don't know each other and feel that social anxiety, that social fear, to just like, we are kids at play, like how we used to be, where I don't need to know you to like connect with you and be in community, and just feeling grateful for that. What the changes that I was able to witness and be part of. And I think that the medicine of play is what I consistently feel grateful around water about. And, some of the things that came up in that group were really heavy around what folks are going through, and just the magic of being able to be really real and honest about pain, and then also immediately go into play, and just have that kind of light and shadow just be dancing so naturally. Yeah.
Let me tell y'all something. I'm so grateful to be here. Like, let me tell you. Okay, let me back up. So my name is Jerry Hiltz. I am a Black and Indigenous woman from the state of Louisiana. Most of my people come from the Atchafalaya Basin region, and I'm also from a Maroon lineage. And so I can't even get my edges to lay down. Like that's what time it is. That's what time it is. And I know my people are about to be all right. And I also woke up this morning texting women, mostly, generally, like, what is your definition of holy water? Because that's just what I was stuck on, you know, just trying to like locate myself on like the Black Southern, you know, femme spectrum. And the day has been wild. So, first folks are like, what happened? You know, and then folks, you know, but the general consensus among Black women is that right now, this morning on the check-in, is that holy water is water that's been blessed. When you ask Indigenous women, they'll say, water is life, all water is sacred. And then, you know, I was trying to go for like around 5 Christians and a heathen, and I just meant that comically. So I text my hellish cousin in Baton Rouge. He lived in Baton Rouge and he worked for Exxon. So when I called him, I knew he was going to be at work. So he texted me back and he says, literally, he says, me and my little friends polluting the planet. What can I do for you? Because this is how I address him, because he works for Exxon. I'm always like, you and your little friends messing up the planet. So he's like, what can I do for you? And I'm like, what's your definition of holy water? And so he's the only one who said, it's water that's supposed to bless you if they sprinkle it on you. That's his little heathen definition. So everybody else just agreed that it's water that's been blessed. And maybe we can unpack that a little bit later. I think it matters that Black women in the South, the consistent definition is just water that's been blessed. Because I think that speaks to how we encounter water slightly, you know, on the locating. But anyways, we're all right. The Katrina anniversary was yesterday. Idalia them, you know, coming through, doing all the things that they do. And I think we're still going to be all right. I think there are things to talk about and unpack. And also, I think, you know, we really are built for such a time as this. You know, I got my bun with my edges that won't lay down, with my dollar store big earrings on, and my wet AF t-shirt made out of 100% recycled material, and my little maroon cardigan situation. And, you know, that's me.
Greetings, y'all. My name is Sadia Brownlee, and I hail from many places. I'm originally born in Detroit, grew up between Detroit and Pontiac, Michigan, hail from the Gullah Geechee Nation of the Low Country of South Carolina, and am currently in Durham, North Carolina, with my little sister and my nephew and my brother-in-law. So very much, you know, hearing and preparing and thinking about Idalia coming through, thinking about my family on the Low Country, in the Low Country, also preparing for the hurricane, as well as my mom, who was in South Carolina, but in like the PD River region area. I'm in a very earth state of mind. It's Virgo season. I'm a Virgo, just had a birthday. And so, you know, I'm feeling excited about the possibilities, possibilities for myself, possibilities for my family. I'm feeling very inspired by Tony Cade Bambara's work right now. The need, the absolute requirement for me to prioritize my art, and to ritualize it in the same way that I would the care that I give to others, the getting up in the morning and brushing my teeth, really, really ritualizing it. And so I'm feeling very firm and grounded in that, but also feeling gratitude for the water. I'm looking forward to seeing my godmother, who is here in North Carolina, again. I got a chance to see her over the weekend, and sat with my nephew while my little sister got her first eboileri, first Ori cleanse. And I was reminded in the process that she went through with my Ia, just how critical it is that we speak with water, that we return to water, and not just in times of need, but on an everyday basis, that we're able to come to the water, give gratitude for its symbolic and literal flow and movement of the good stuff and the icky stuff, in and out of our life, for it being a channel, and was reminded that this is absolutely something that has to be a part of my life every day, in spite of whatever schedule, conflict, I need X, Y, and Z. Nah, like this is priority. My spiritual work, my writing, my gardening. And I just feel like I'm on a sabbatical right now from work, which is why I've been down south for the past few weeks. So I'm feeling a very recentered alignment of what I need to do to maintain myself, but also do the work that I have to do, that I was put here to do for my people. I am Cocoa Brown. I have black, dark brown freeform locks, a key lime pie blouse with a necklace that looks a little bit like a moonstone with some sun rays beneath it, and a big old gold nose ring. And Elegba Eleke. And that's me. That's how I'm doing.
Thank you. Thank you all. And I am Ebony Noel Golden. I am from Houston, Texas. My people are from Texas and from Louisiana, from Shreveport to the river parishes outside of New Orleans. I live in Harlem. I am ebony colored. I have semi-freeform locks up in a top bun, undone bun. I'm wearing a black top and pink and multicolored necklaces. I have purple lipstick on and purple shimmery eyeshadow on. And I am your host for this evening. Welcome to Holy Waters. Thank you all for being here once again. I want to jump in. I want to jump into some storytelling. And I want to say, y'all, we can unbraid a little bit. If there's something that needs to be added in, let's add it in. If it's something that needs to be repeated, let's repeat it. Let's have outside water. Yes, that's exactly what we mean. It's something that brings in another conversation in terms of the way work happens that sometimes we never think about. We never think about why we need to or we don't need to do certain things in relationship to the planet. We think about it in terms of profit and in terms of how many people are going to come and see it, but in terms of the relationship that we can build with the land and with the water, that's oftentimes not on the table. And so I'm really excited to be in that type of collaboration where we have to think beyond, man-made infrastructures as we are building this work that we're building. I'm also wanting to uplift that we're doing two conversations. There's another conversation tomorrow that I'm recording, but we're recording. But this conversation, something has emerged as a theme that I was hoping would be sensed and felt in the virtual room today. That you are all folks that have, even if you're not working in the water, like Oshun Swim School, but you're working with the water and close to the water, and your subjects of your work are also close to the water or in the water. There is something to me that became very clear. I'm a person who lived in Durham for many years. Durham is one of my homes. That the time that I spent down east, the time that I spent in the Outer Banks and along the Gullah Corridor, started to speak to me in very strong ways as I was making this work, and before, even years before I was making In the Name of the Mother Tree. And then, kind of spiral time forward, I meet Jerry at a climate convening recently, like a couple months ago. And there was something very critical that I knew was missing, because I'm from that side of the waters, right? That the idea of functional fugitivity and maroonage in that Gulf of Mexico region and in those swamps of Louisiana is something that is very important to me and people who I love. What's happening in those waters and in those low country spaces. And something that has become very clear in this conversation, as folks, in this room are working close to the water, in the water, with the water, from the water. The conversation, the texture, the tempo of this conversation is different than some other conversations that I've had about the same topics. I do think that it's relevant and resonant that, folks that have stories that are embroidered by being being on these islands and in these spaces and way out in the swamps, way out where you got to take a boat to get there, way out, right? And taking people to the water in multiple ways is something that shifts the way we think about what reciprocity and what reparations could potentially be. And so I just want to say that makes sense, and I'm really, really grateful, that's kind of in my brain now. I knew it, but I hadn't really sat with how this configuration of folks and why this configuration of folks needed to be the first conversation in this 3-part series that we're doing. With that being said, everyone doesn't have to respond, but I would love some thoughts, if you do feel called to speak, around your feelings, your imaginations, your vision for climate justice and climate reparations in your community. Given what you've already shared and what's on your heart to add to what's been shared, when you think about how we can be in right relationship, when we think about reparations as an environmental and climate imperative, what do you see as the joy, the impact, the opportunity, the resonance, yeah. What's left when we get there?
I'm going to jump in just because I dream about this all the time. I have found myself in so many political working groups to try and make this dream material. Right now, I'm in the Farm Service Agency Urban County Committee because it feels like a good opportunity for particularly Black people to get what the USDA stay taken from us. I don't know that it is, it feels like a good time, so I'm here. But what I know is that in this experience, and in every other experience before being in Farm Service Agency, every other farm and garden, and even talking with my family members who have a renewed excitement about working with the land in spite of so much trauma. I'm excited to see us working together on our own terms, and also not just working on our own terms as human beings, but to be listening in divine relationship with the land, in divine relationship with the water. So we don't have to, be forced to have these extractive relationships with flora, fauna, water that we had to because of enslavement and sharecropping, but because we choose to return to these healthy, dynamic relationships that we once had with the environment that we're a part of. I see that looking like a number of configurations. In my mind, it's land banks, it's family land trusts, it's pimping out the system so that we use these legal containers to hold on to land collectively. but to really be stewards of land. So we're using their terms around conservation, environmentalism, but what we're really doing is using that to get the funding that we need to get our own collective vision that includes the thought process of the trees, of the waters, of the soil, that includes what they want if we are to continue living and working and be fed from them. That's really the conservation that we're doing, listening to the environment and putting those plans into place, but using the language that gets us the money to do it. So they can just leave us alone. That's how we've done as maroon communities. We've said one thing so that we can do what we really need to do. So I see it happening generationally. I see my elders being restored to the love that they would have had if it weren't for the interruption of enslavement. I see young people coming up with the wildest ideas for food with the things that they grow. I see miniature markets. I see babies rolling around in the soil and eating it too. I see play happening. I see a dissipation of fear of the woods and of the waters because it's no longer unknown. And it just feels so good because everyone is supported in coming to an awakening of what their purpose is. And that purpose may not be to be a farmer, but there is something about being in the water and being on soil and being in an old growth forest that helps elucidate for you who you are and what you're meant to do. And so I see that for us, for all our people, in nice little groups. We're going back to city states.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jump in. You shared with us, Ebony, some texts, and I'm just thinking about, there was a section in the National Black Climate Mandate that referenced care and people who are giving care to elders, giving care to disabled people, giving care to children, and how those people are disproportionately, Black and brown and femme, women and femmes. And I had the opportunity recently to be one of the last people who got to spend time with my Aunt Louise, who was 93 years old. And she was in a care facility. And I was asking where the remote was to the TV because it was just on. And I didn't feel like this running, litany of something somebody was selling on a commercial was what my Aunt Louise needed to be hearing as she was contemplating her days and getting ready to go meet her loved ones who live on the other side. And the sister who was close at hand was a Black woman. She was pregnant, and I caught her, and she was in the middle of just trying to scarf down a meal. And she said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to eat." And I noticed that she was eating standing, and she was eating standing at a push cart with some supplies for for the rooms and the beds. And the person on the other side of this push cart, who was also standing and eating, kind of cramming food in her mouth, was also pregnant. And they both said, "We're just pregnant trying to eat." And they said, "We don't know what's in the water here, but a whole bunch of us then end up pregnant all at the same time." And I said, "Y'all, please take care of yourselves. I can wait. Aunt Louise can wait." And they asked me a little bit about myself, somehow we got on the subject of prayer, and we were talking about the power of prayer, and one of the women asked if I would pray over her. So when I read in this climate mandate that part of reparations means that we will offer a humane baseline of support and resources for the people who do some of the most sacred work that any human being can do, which is to be there to take care of our babies, take care of us when our bodies are broken, take care of us when our own families are not in a condition to care for us, to take care of us when we draw last breath. Those folks need care, and it is an environmental issue. Um, and it is about a vision of restorative justice. I think about how the land is calling on us to consider more deeply the needs of our disabled, you know, kin, and how we talk about environmental racism. We don't really talk a lot about environmental ableism, and how the same spaces that are impacted by petrochemical plants and by encroachment and by gentrification of Black spaces and brown spaces, they're often, if you look closely, you will also see the disabled folks who have been impacted deeply by environmental injustice. Queer folk, I mean, are some of the most ingenious, brilliant leaders of marriage. Always have been. I have sought harbor in the haven of queer spaces. As a non-queer person, I have gotten sanctuary in the arms of my queer kin. They have held me whole. They have loved me up and through and out, and they are worthy to live and to see old age. Our trans sisters are also um, impacted by these environmental injustices and deserve to live, to breathe, to flourish, to be thought leaders of high regard, to be policy thought leaders. I want to see a think tank led by our queer folk, our trans folk, particularly our Black trans, women. I want to sit at those tables. I want to see archives led by the children that are as mobile and malleable, was what the sister said, as the soil. We need malleable and mobile archives to carry our stories with us and our treasures with us. These are the things I'm thinking about, and I know we need. We need to hear from Jerry's wisdom around being a child of the maroon people, because we are increasingly, many of us are needing to learn how to be maroons, some of us for the first time.
Okay, y'all, I know we're at time, but we cannot, we can't mix nothing at this point that needs to be shared. So I want to ask if there's anything else, please share.
I figured out how to unmute myself. It wasn't my time, but I needed to hear that, Michelle. These are the things so I have a recently passed elder, and she used to say, from the poison comes the medicine. And so I'm just spit out a couple things that are the modalities I'm working with that are guiding my work, because this is happening right here, right now. This is the work. It's just us. It's going to be us. It's more Black, brown, blended women doing this work, but it's us. It's us on the line right now behind holy water at the full moon, right after the Katrina anniversary with our dahlia coming and everything on fire. It's us right now. In the context, thank you for asking about maroon lineage wisdom, because it was said in reference to, is it Chandrika? Did I say that right? Chandrika was talking about the orcas. We have a dream network, okay, in my family, you know, and so we dream, but our practice is, if it's significant, you wake up and you tell somebody. And so in that way, we are our own archives of our own dreams. And so you don't have to know what it means. You don't have to have the whole piece. But if you wake up, if I wake up and tell my mother about my dream, all my cousins in Texas will know. And all the rest of the aunts, one way or another. And as things move, you know, now you have living, breathing people in your bloodline or your chosen family who will remind you about that dream you had. And so we too are living, carrying archives. And so that's just something that's happening. And my elder also used to say that the most radical thing about indigeneity is our belief in the ability to heal. And so, you know, Western thought will pathologize a thing to death and have you think that it will have to stay broke until it is dead and then it is gone. But if that's not your cosmology, then you already know the healing is there for you. And water carries everything. I'm also a student of Ella Baker. I believe, like she did, that strong people don't need strong leaders, which is indigenous in its understanding. So, you know, my work for me is about leaning wherever I can in the ways that I can, that it is aligned. And I can hear even in this conversation, like, I know the work is getting done. I knew the work was getting done before I saw y'all. You know what I'm saying? And because we're out here doing the things, bring all the ways, you know, like that's the other piece, bring all the ways. You know, I was out Indian country on a medicine trail, ran into another Black Indigenous woman at this sacred healing womb circle. And they too had their ceremonies taken away and have been fighting to keep their ceremonies going, get them back, preserve them. So that's something we're all going through. So I also want to offer specifically that the reason why we have to talk is because sometimes more information is what you need to know that you already had all the information. And so when I go there and I see the sister and I recognize her on site, I think I'm wrong. But then, of course, she comes up to the table and says her mom is from Bayou Tech. And I'm like, bet, because I see you, right? And so they're doing their thing in TP in the sacred space. And before I know it, they're down at the river. And everyone of African ancestry is at the river. And, you know, we had 50 pounds of honey to give away that I carried because water carries, right? So, you know, when they come up to me like, can we get a little bit for the ceremony? I already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? So on the intention, Black Indigenous modalities are healing cross tribes, cross nations, right? And, you know, Sis Nim washed everybody in the river, children included, and they lined up and they waited. And they, you know, imagine me in the Black Hills, following behind somebody, trying to help carry the medicines to honor the work that this Native woman did in stopping the pipeline through the Atchafalaya. And I meet Ken from Bayou Tech cleaning children and grown women in the river. We already doing this thing. We've been doing this thing. You can't take nothing from us. Ain't nobody took nothing from us. And not only are we carrying medicines on our backs, in our blood, in our bones, we are that. We are that. Been that. We shift things with our consciousness. We don't need a plan for everything. Policy is cool. They play with policy, and also show up to the river, get in there, show up. Part of why our dream networks work is because our trees are in the water. Our trees are standing in the water. Me too. All my people, me too. You let somebody do me something right now, my people already on the way. We need to speak. I'm sending text. What's your definition of holy water? You don't even know how many Black women are on the line already because they had to type back a definition of holy water on the phone. And so now their whole day is looking different. That's how you shift in the atmosphere out here. Showing up. I didn't even know who was coming. Everything on fire, but it's 30 Black women in my phone talking about holy water while shit is on fire. While it's on fire. What is it? Water that's blessed. You know why? Because Black women know we can bless it. See, if you're indigenous to the place, you like it's all sacred, right? If you had to cross some water and it's not your water, it ain't holy till I bless it. It ain't holy till I bless it. Black women clean stuff that's already clean. You know what I'm saying? You wash them dishes before you put them in the dishwasher. That's we out here. All of us. I'm done. I'm gonna get off this phone with y'all. Look, I told y'all my edges, I know they're not laid down. My cousin Tex gonna talk about me, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here doing my best.
You doing very, very, very good. Very good. Okay. All right. Okay. We have to go. We have to go, y'all. I mean, there is so much more, and I don't want to stop, but there are people at High Arts that need to get off of this Zoom. And I appreciate y'all for giving us some extra time. I appreciate y'all. Listen, it's not over. We're just taking a little bit of a moment, pausing, but we will be in some configuration, again, continuing to talk and work, pray, and be in ceremony around this and all of the things. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. More soon. Take some deep breaths before you leave. Take what you need, leave the rest. And I appreciate you. This has been a brilliant way to spend an evening, a full moon evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.